We never got a Super Train game, but this is Mountie Mick's Deathride. Mountie Mick's Deathride is a 1987 game by Areola Soft, the people who brought you Werewolves to London before they went bust. Ben Dalglish on music duty, certainly on the C64. We look at the C64 loading screen here, and yeah, if you're like me, you'll probably look at the front of that train and think it looks a bit like a Yorkshire television logo. Basically, you're a Royal Canadian Mountie and you have to stop a gang who have hijacked a train. And, well, it stopped the express, as quite a few reviewers noted at the time. It's simply, yeah, if you've played Stop the Express on the Spectrum, then, well, you may still find this interesting. Interestingly, on the C64, the joystick works in both ports, which is a nice touch for those of us who have to swap joysticks every 2 minutes. And there you are, Mountie Mick running along the top of the track or train, and of course you don't want to reach the end of the screen because that would mean certain death. You also don't want to fall from the train, but you only fall from the train if you jump onto the couplers between the carriages. You can walk over them, but you cannot jump onto them. And the train is full of baddies who will shoot at you. If you jump on the baddies, they die, and you can climb up ladders at the end of carriages or at the middle point as well. It's quite easy to fall down. You can duck down, and when you duck down you also punch, which is quite handy. Number of carriages is shown at the bottom of the screen there. You start off with 4. I think you end up with about 20 carriages on the final level, which I think is level 9. Oh, I fell through there. You've got to be really careful. CPC version, different loading screen. And it's a little bit of a memory test because this isn't my first go on this. It's about the 10th. Because things will kill you or jump out at you, and you basically need to remember where things are. Because by the time they jump out at you, it's usually too late to deal with them. The enemies can drop bombs on you, which you must stay away from. You can pick up bombs as well, but they're useless pretty much. You're better off using your gun. And you do have limited ammunition. So because it's limited ammunition, you need to be careful with how much you use. Jumping up is fiddly, although not as fiddly on the Amstrad as it is on the C64. Over to the Specky. Same music as the Amstrad. But no music when the game plays, just going to 48K audio. And of course on the Spectrum, the thing you are comparing this to immediately is Stop the Express, which is a superb game by Hudson Soft from many years before. And a lot of the reviewers, even the Amstrad magazines, where there's not a version of the game, picked up on this. He looks like Rick Dangerous when he crouches down with his hat. Little splashes of colour on the screen, but not too much. Back to the 64. And climbing up can just be a little bit fiddly. Going up to the front of the train. On the C64 and Amstrad versions, there are baddies at the front of the train, but not on the Spectrum version. And you jump down to the front of the train, and then you've got to get on this thing which Mr. PSB will know the name of and I don't. And you have to press up and down really fast. And I've failed there. No, there's a trick going on the CPC there. The bogies, whatever they're called, of the train are in a different screen mode to the main train itself. So Mountie Mick and the train is mode 0, but the track wheels appear to be mode 1. Look at the pixel sizes. And then the status display is in mode 0 again. Right, I'm going up and down really fast. My joystick really doesn't notice. I hate games you have to waggle. And games where you have to waggle up and down are even worse. Right, so we've got to the end there. Got to jump up now before it catches up with me, but it's going to catch. And yeah, on the Amstrad version, if you get pretty close to the edge of the screen, it kills you. Whereas on the C64, you can actually go off the edge before it kills you. Waggling frantically on my joypad here on the Spectrum. Still, it doesn't work too well when you've got to do this section. And let's ignore the physics here because I don't know how these things work. It's a bit like if you jumped off a train at 60 miles an hour, would you come to an immediate stop? Perhaps we ought to ask somebody from Amiga Power about that. Or the University of Bristol Physics Department. So we're still running along on the Specky then. Nice how the little splashes of colour on the boxes and things. And as you go from train to train, the train lengths increase, and there's also other hazards such as leaking gas, antler things that come out of boxes that try to grab you, don't know what they are, and various other bits. And also you have to be more careful about choosing a route because you can get trapped. You can shoot when you're jumping, which so many of these games don't let you do, but this one does. It's quite handy for clearing the top off of carriages there. But yeah, when you climb up, you quite often end up jumping up and then you're left vulnerable as well. Train 2 on the Amstrad. As a gantry. Now, if you're on top on a gantry, you must duck down, although it doesn't seem to affect the bad guys. They seem to be okay, but if you go under a gantry, you must duck. Again, that's borrowed from Stop the Express. Oh, I'm dead there. When you die, you get that little skeleton that's a bit like Green Beret. When you die on the Amstrad anyway. My bullets go down, and there are spare bullets around. Oh, probably ducked too early there. Am I going to end up too close to the edge of the screen? Run along and don't fall on the coupler because you will fall through. Game over, and deaths on the Amstrad are very quick, but you do have that nice way of typing in your high score. Train 3 on the C64. It's getting very frantic now and busy, and you can go through tunnels. There is a torch you can pick up and activate to go through tunnels. Torches and gas masks and bombs need to be activated from the keyboard, which is annoying because you've got to reach over. Mountie Mick can... Oh, I'm off the screen. Mountie Mick can drop any height at all. Oh. But he must not land on the couplers. Oh, you see very carefully there. Again, didn't land on that coupler. There's a bomb down there. Don't really need that. They are useless. All the baddies look the same. It's all a little bit slower on the Specky. It's not a bad game. And this was a $4.99 game, by the way. Areola Soft were testing out this new price point to see if there could be a midpoint between budget and full price. So you can't really compare it to full price games. Up to the head of the train on the Spectrum version. Two locos at the front. And you won't get baddies on the Spectrum version up here, so you're fairly safe. On the Amstrad version, I notice if you walk over the exhaust section on the train, you die. But it takes you a few times to realise what's actually going on there. Waggling up and down. Why these trains are following each other and why... Because the instructions imply the gang have taken over one train, but there appear to be 9. And again, I'm not sure how these trains can travel so closely together. Let's not overthink this. Come on, up and down, go on, up and down, up and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, come on! Ugh. The first carriage you always have to climb up as well. Oh! And jump there. It means you've got to have plenty of leeway when you arrive in on your uppy down thing. Otherwise you won't be able to climb up and jump and do all the rest. Those death animations on the Specky are very Hudson Soft as well, aren't they? Right, up there. Train 6 on the C64. And now we're going to get these double-levelled carriages with cars in the bottom. So you've got to jump over. If you go underneath, you're stuck. He's dropped something. He's dropped a gas mask. I have to press G to activate that. So presumably there is gas leaking from a canister somewhere up here. It appears there's big bubbles on the spectrum. Not sure how... Oh, there we go. That's gas leaking there. I should be immune, but I've fallen through the... Yeah, I've fallen to my death there anyway. Mountie Mick's Deathride. Well, if it wasn't for Stop the Express, I would probably be heartily recommending this game. It is annoying in places and very unforgiving, especially on the Amstrad version where you can die without knowing what happened. And yes, it is a memory test, I'm afraid. You'll be playing the same levels over and over again, remembering where the baddies are and what you can do and what you can't do and what the routes are. It's a polished game on all the systems, with the C64 leading the pack, especially with that really good Ben Daglish soundtrack. CPC is a little bit slower, but it does use some of those hardware tricks to give you the high resolution on the train wheels, bogies, whatever they're called. It is an unforgiving game. Is it a better quality game than most budget games? Yes. Isn't it as good as most full price games? No. Was it worth $4.99 on any of these systems? Yes, I think it was. But the elephant in the room, as I say, is Stop the Express, which is at least twice as good as this game.